For Charlotte City leaders to decide if they're going to reverse course when it comes to the I-77 expansion project. Tonight, the Transportation Committee heard from city staff on what options they have moving forward. If this feels like deja vu, well, you're right, because part of the options on the table may sound familiar, like getting an independent study done, hearing from the community. WBTV's Forrest Tucker attended the meeting where there was a new effort to break the cycle.
The state budget passed in July requires the North Carolina Department of Transportation to recover project costs from cities that backed out of the I-77 expansion project. Charlotte was one of them and now faces a $64 million bill due in only a matter of weeks.
If we have to pay the money back, where's the money coming from?
District 2's council member, Malcolm Graham, raised questions about where that money would come from.
I think council needs to know that. And we need an accounting of the $64 million. We need a line item accounting for how that money was spent. And if the city were to pay it back, we need to be somewhat proactive in identifying the resources where those dollars will be coming from. I think that's really, really important for us to make a comprehensive decision.
If Charlotte decides to reverse course by October 5th, it would be off the hook for repayment. But council members also raised new questions about whether the requirement is even legal.
I think we need to have a legal analysis from our legal team.
And if 6 weeks is enough time for more input or more study on the project.
I'm not sure we can do a whole lot in 6 weeks that will be respected and accepted by the community.
Some opponents of the project say they want the city to stand up to Raleigh with a lawsuit. Others say it depends, but want more input from the governor about where he stands on the issue.
I want them to go ahead and tell the General Assembly that this process is not fair, it's not equitable, there's no way that they can win this in court, and we're willing to go to court over this.
To stick to the original plan and not deviate and not have someone or some entity dangle something in front of them to have them to change their mind.
In Charlotte, Forrest Tucker, WBTV, on your side.